If you could control color based on brightness instead of pixels, what would happen? Today, we're going to explore gradient map in Photoshop. At first glance, it may look complex, but it's actually very fundamental. First, let's look at how it works. Here, I've created 5 tonal values: white, 25% gray, 50% gray, 75% gray, and black. Now we apply a gradient map adjustment layer. You can see that the gradient is bright on the right side and gradually gets darker toward the left. Next, I'll assign colors to each tonal range. For the highlights, I choose red. For the shadows, I choose yellow. Then I add a point in the middle of the gradient at location 50 and set it to blue. I add another point around location 76 and set it to green, and one more point around location 25 and set it to purple. Now let's see how gradient map actually behaves. When I select the white point and change its color, you'll notice it only affects the right side of the gradient and the white areas of the image. When I move the point at location 76, the color only affects its corresponding gray range. The point at location 50 controls the 50% gray area. The point at location 25 affects the 75% gray area. And the black point only controls the darkest parts of the image. In other words, the sliders from right to left control the image from white and highlights through midtones and shadows, all the way to black. Gradient map also includes a reverse option. This allows you to flip the mapping direction, which is useful when you want to quickly test different color directions without rebuilding the gradient. When dither is enabled, you may not see a clear difference by eye, but if you look at the histogram, the brightness values are distributed more evenly. This is how dither helps reduce banding in smooth color transitions. Finally, gradient map offers 5 different methods. These methods mainly change how the color range is distributed across the gradient. The core behavior of gradient map stays the same. The last mode, stripes, is different, as it creates clearly separated color bands. Example 1. Changing subject color. Now that we understand the principle, let's look at a real example. Here, I've separated the subject's shirt, and the goal is to change its color. I create a new gradient map adjustment layer, then apply a clipping mask so it only affects the shirt. Based on what we've just learned, the right side controls the highlights, the left side controls the shadows. When choosing colors, we follow the same logic. Here, I choose a soft light red for the highlights. If the shadow color is too light or not darker than the highlight color, the subject will lose its form and look flat. That's why the shadow color always needs to be deep enough to preserve volume. In this case, I use black in the shadow area to clearly maintain the shape of the shirt. Gradient map also includes a set of built-in presets that you can use as a starting point. However, if you choose a preset where the dark tones are brighter than the highlights, the image will look almost inverted and feel unnatural. So in practice, it's better to choose gradients where the shadows are darker than the highlights. Once the gradient feels right, we can fine-tune it further. Here, I darken the shadow range, then add a point in the midtones, introduce a bit of black, and adjust its position to better fit the overall image. Now let's look at the before and after. The shirt color has changed clearly, while the light, shadow, and overall sense of depth are still intact. In this case, if we use a solid color, choose a color, and switch the blending mode to color, the result usually looks quite flat and lacks depth. Similarly, with color balance, even if we push the colors strongly or bring the subject close to gray, the control over form and highlight-shadow separation is still less precise. This is where gradient map really stands out, because it allows us to assign color precisely to different tonal ranges instead of applying color globally. Example 2. Controlled color blending by light. Here, we have a landscape image with a fairly neutral base. I start by creating a gradient map adjustment layer. In the midtones, I choose a soft yellow tone. In the black range, I choose a cool, dark blue. In the white range, I choose red to affect the highlights. Gradient map also includes a noise type. A noise gradient distributes colors in a more random way rather than following a smooth, perceptual transition. This option isn't very common in everyday workflows, so we don't need to focus on it too much. I switch back to solid, then change the blending mode to overlay. Overlay helps preserve contrast while allowing the colors to blend into the image more naturally. By looking at the image and the histogram, we can clearly see that red has been added to the highlights, yellow affects the midtones, and blue is introduced into the shadows. We can also copy this gradient map layer and apply it to another image. This gives different images a relatively consistent color style based on the same light structure. From there, we can make small adjustments on each image to achieve a more balanced and harmonious result. Gradient map is not a coloring tool, but a way to control color through light. Understanding light is the key to using gradient map effectively. Like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks so much for watching till the end.